Hey everybody, my name's Chris and I'm the founder of Luki Bike Adventures, and we're working on this Thrashed bike, and it is close to being done. It's we're in the final stretch on this thing. Now, unfortunately, I did screw up the last video where I installed the brakes, but I'm gonna kind of talk through it a little bit, and if this is something you're really interested in, don't worry, because several of these bikes over here, see these guys, they all have the same style of brake that needs to be replaced. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to see that in the future. Most of those, I think all of them except for maybe one needs the brakes replaced, and it doesn't need the brakes replaced only because I don't think it has front brakes, and it's just a 16-inch, so it's just got a coaster brake on it, and I don't think I'm going to add anything to it. So that's where we're at. So, like I said, I already put this brake on, and that's one of the last things we need to do. It still needs to get a chain and the seat, and that's about it. So let me show you the old brake that it had. So it's this. The brake lever was cracked, which, I mean, that happens, I guess. But the main thing is, like, look how bent and warped this is. You know, the tire is supposed to be here, and this is supposed to clamp down. You squeeze the brake, and it's supposed to clamp down and squeeze the tire. But, well, I guess that one doesn't have to be quite that bad. But as you see, they're not, they're not on, look at this. It's just completely bent. And all of these bikes are like that. All of these kids' bikes that have the same style, they use a super thin metal, and it just bends. And you know, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's bending due to crashes. And, you know, kids aren't necessarily easy on their things, on their toys. So are they crashing it? Are they just throwing their bike around and being careless with it? Or is it just the forces of braking that's causing it to bend like this? I don't know. It's probably a little bit of all three. But in any case, you know, I'm going to be taking these kids, and we're going to be on hills. You know, I'm not going to have them doing anything too crazy, but I want to have reliable brakes that are actually going to stop and work well, and that I don't have to worry about replacing every couple weeks or whatever. So I made an upgrade. I ordered these. They're called Odyssey 1999, and these are BMX brakes. So they're tough. BMXers are pretty hardcore and hard on their bikes. And so if you look at this guy, I don't know if you saw the previous video where I did the overview. I said, I was like, oh man, I forgot to order a brake lever, but I also forgot that this actually came with a lever, so that's awesome. I don't need to order more. Well, that's only half true. I kind of do need to order more, but it also comes with cable and housing, and it comes with a separate post, and so it's got this post here, and that's where it mounts to the bike, and it comes in 2 different lengths. So I needed the long one for this bike, and I'm gonna guess I'll probably need the long one for the other bikes as well, but I guess we'll find out. But if you look at the metal here, look at that. That is some thick stuff. Like, that is not gonna bend anytime soon. The comparison, the weight difference is very clear, but you look at that. Look at the difference in just the thickness of the metal there. No comparison. So this is a pretty significant upgrade, and I bought a bunch of these for all these bikes here that have them, and we're gonna go through and upgrade them all. One thing that I did run into, that I didn't expect, actually, was that the rim of this bike is angled. It tapers inward, so it kind of makes a V shape like that. A lot of other rims, and probably the rims, I shouldn't say probably, the rims that these brakes are obviously designed for, are very flat. So the problem I'm running into is that when you squeeze the brake and it makes contact, let's see how I can do this, it's supposed to clamp on, you know, evenly, and, you know, lots of pad contact, and that's not happening with this bike. What's happening here is just the very top edge is coming into contact with the rim, and then where it tapers off, there's nothing. So it really is just the very, very top, and so that's not good. That's not going to give us the kind of braking power that we want. That's not going to be safe. That's not going to be reliable. That's not going to be anything useful to us. So I'm going to have to, they do make brake pads that are cut at an angle like that. So I'm going to have to order some of those. And I suspect, I'm going to check. I don't know if all of them will need those, but I kind of think they probably will. So I'll probably have to order a few sets of those. But brake pads are not very expensive, so we can afford that. What else did we do? And then I just put the grips on and the lever. So it's not anything major, and we'll, you know, sorry guys, I screwed that up, but there'll be other opportunities. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I make another video. And you'll be able to catch it. All right, so I can just talk about it a little bit. So, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to bother. We'll do that. We'll do that again when we come to it. Let's just get this chain on this guy and wrap it up. Oh, I forgot. Before we move on to the chain, the handlebars are a bit not centered here. Let's see, how well can you see it? So they're off to the side a bit. Let me get you closer so you can see it. Alright, so I don't know if you can tell, but there's like it's like a texture, it's kind of like hash marks here. And there's none on this side. Is that better or worse? So right here, there's like this kind of hash grid type of texture. And so, and I don't know, from my angle, it's very clear that this is off center. I don't know that it's clear from, so this side is a lot more space than this side. So it's pushed this way quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and center that. And let's see, got a 6mm for this. And there's 4 bolts on this one. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Get the cable out of the way. So there's 4 bolts here. And I'm just going to loosen them all up, but I'm not going to go, you know, clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm going to do like a crisscross applesauce type of shape, because you want to tighten and loosen evenly, you know, on all sides. So I just do a little bit of time on each one. So if I start here, you know, I'm just going to loosen a little bit here. I'm going to come over to this side and loosen that. And I'm not loosening it all the way. Come over here and loosen that some. And then over here. And I'm just going to keep making this, you know, crisscross shape, or X, or whatever you want to call it, until it's loose enough. And now I can slide this over, and there usually you get one of 2 things happening. So over here there's some more of the hash marks, but there's none on this side, so that means I've gone too far this way. And so I want to center it so that They typically either center so that there's no marks visible on either side, or if there are, you want to make sure that it's like an equal amount on each side. Like sometimes it's like lines, so there might be 2 lines on this side, 2 lines on that side. So just get it even. And the angle here, you can adjust it to whatever's comfortable for you. I'm going to leave it fairly neutral, and you know, that can always be adjusted later. And then I'm tightening it up the same way. So I just tighten that just enough so that there's like some contact and I feel some resistance. And I'm going around to each one. Boom, 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 boom. And then put a little bit more force on each one. Get in there. Not that way. You know, that's not supposed to be the difficult part here. All right, there we go. And I really don't see why it would make a difference which order you go in. And I don't know that I'm even consistent with it, but, you know, just do your best to try to get it even. Actually, this one feels, I think we might be at that point where it's enough. Okay, that's done. So far, everything's coming up Millhouse. Alright, let's straighten this out a little bit. And we can move on to the chain. So, chains come in different sizes, and you want to get the correct size. Whether it's a single speed chain, a 12 speed chain, 11 speed, 9 speed, whatever, however many speeds you have, speeds being in the back. So not like sometimes they'll advertise them as like 21 speed, so it'll be like 7 here and 3 here. It's just whatever's here. So if there's 7 or 6, 12, whatever, that's where you go. What kind of chain you get, I mean. So this is just a single speed chain. And if you have a nice surface to work on, the easiest thing to do, if you have the old chain, is to just measure it to the size of the old chain. Made it hard to open. Here you go. Maybe I can use these for something other than cutting zip ties. Worked. Not great. It does work for that. All right. So you should have a chain, and I think they all come with quick releases now. I don't think I've ever seen one that didn't. And that's just something to, or not quick release, but a quick link or master link. Different companies call it something different, but it's basically just a connector to connect the chain. All right, so I'm basically going to just take the 2 chains, and I'm not going to count this one because you have to count the quick link counts as a link. So I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to count that as my quick link. And then I'm going to line this one up to the second one. So you have the chains, so you have like an outer link and an inner link. And so this one, I got the inner link. The quick link is an outer link. So I'm lining this up to the very first inner link, and I'm going to count that as my quick link. Does that make sense? And then I'm just going to line these up, try to keep it nice and even, and just keep going until I get to, maybe this one might be easier. And I'm just making sure that is not shifting, like they're all staying kind of lined up to each other. And it ends right there. So that's my last one. So I'm going to cut the chain right there on this inner link. And so we'll have 2 inner links on the end. And then when I add on the quick link, we will be right where we're supposed to be. And I usually double check it a few times, but I'm not going to double check it this time. I'm going to take a chance. Mostly because I just kind of want to get done with this. All right. And I'm using the same tool that I used to take the chain off. And put the chain in there. So just... So to me, this looks like a torture device. I always think of it as a torture device. You lock it in place like that. And pay attention to what you're doing, because this pin is fairly easy to bend and render it useless. It is a replaceable part. They don't cost a whole lot. I went to a bike shop and actually, yeah, when we were at work, I'm like, hey, I need one of these guys. And we just had some, sold it to me for a couple bucks. So it wasn't too bad. But save yourself some hassle and just make sure that it's aligned properly, it's sitting in there the right way. Especially if the chain is really worn, it might shift different kind of ways. So just pay attention what you're doing there. Now that I said that, I'm positive I'm going to break it. So, all right, but yeah, so you can see, I can see it. I don't know if you can see it, the pin coming out. There you go. Now pop the pin all the way out. Back this up. That bit of the chain is gone. Putting my tool in where it goes, like an adult. And now I'm just going to wrap this around this guy. And around there. Forgot. This guy doesn't like to pedal backwards. There we go. And now we get the quick link. Oh. All right. Oh, this is one of those funky ones. What is this? What is this? This is interesting. I don't think I've ever used one quite like this. It's got 3 pieces. Let's see what happens here. Thinking it goes in. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how it goes. All right. Let's see. Where is my this thingy? So this is just it's actually a chain checker to make sure your chain is not worn, but dual purpose also chain hook. And I like things like that. Toe Peak makes it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make my life a little bit easier by gonna loosen this up like so, and loosen the other side as well. And just slide this forward a little bit. And what that's going to do is just give me a little bit more slack to work with this chain. Just make things a bit easier. So, I'm going to go like that. And that just locks those guys in place so I can work hands-free. Especially since I've never used this type of quick link. The ones I use are normally only 2 pieces. So, and of course, there is not one piece of instructions in here. So we're just gonna guess. And figure it out best we can. Let's see. So I'm going to take these 2 pins and I'm going to put them in on this side. That will give me, and I'll be able to see what's going on. And this piece looks like, to me, it locks on, and I'm guessing this piece is going to be what's, yeah. So I'm going to put that on right there. And then that's what you have your surface, I guess, that's up against the rollers and whatnot. And this, I'm going to lock on. Let's see. And I think it makes sense to me, this side is